As you mentioned, we now move to the question and answer session. Different question have been asked, and I can maybe mention the question from Tiana, who asked if we can explain what the user will need to do in case he or she wants to input his own site data instead of using the one from the database in the site characterization module. To answer this question, I will ask Yuen to answer it. You need to share your screen, maybe, Yuen?
Yeah. Share my screen.
Yeah, here you go.
Okay, thank you now. It's a good screen. Merci. Okay, so thank you, Tiana, to have underlined this point because I have forgotten to show you this functionality. Can you see my screen? Yeah. Okay, perfect. So when you create a new project, example, yes, when you are in the third complexity level, the user can import his own database. So maybe okay. When you have to select your files, there is an import selection. So you can click on import and then select your files. Okay, so for example, this one. No, it's not this one. Okay, so it's just like this, and it's the same for the corridor, the seabed types, etc., and the bathymetry. And we have seen there is also another question on the same topic. It's a question from Ali, I think. What's the questions? Okay, here. Sorry. Yes, it's another question from Ali on the geospatial data. So for the release area on the corridor, and he asked the geospatial data about the release area is already embedded in this tool, or you have external data downloaded from ECMWF, such as from WGF. I'm not sure to understand your question, but I think the answer is at the two first complexity level. The geospatial data are embedded in the tool, and at the third one, you can import your own file geospatial data, and for example, you can use software like QGIS or ArcGIS to generate your data, and it will be compatible with geospatial data for DTOcean. And you can import it like I just show you. So don't hesitate if I miss your question.
Thank you, Yuen. So probably your answer, yes, okay. Probably your answer is yes. For some sites, we have the geospatial data embedded in the tool. For some default sites, I would say, but you can still import whatever site you want as an external data. That's correct, Yuen?
Yes, at the first level of complexity, when you don't know precisely your site of interest, it's automatic. You have just to choose your level of wave energy or current energy, and at the last level, you can choose your own geospatial data.
Okay. Then we have a question. We have a question for Emma, maybe. From Tiana. In the ESA module, can you indicate both the presence and absence of specific species?
Actually, no. For the endangered species, well, even for the endangered species and the receptor in the environmental impact assessment, we only consider the information of presence. If we don't have information, we consider it like there is no information, so the user don't know. But yeah, I would say this is quite interesting because maybe in the environmental impact assessment, we could use the non-presence as an information. This is something that could add to the tool. This is a good idea, actually. Yeah, but for now we don't. It's interesting.
Thank you, Emma. Emma, you have probably a question from Ali. I will. It's very long, so I will let you read it, and probably Donald can answer the question from Mr. Prajal. What is the difference between DTOcean 2 and DTOceanPlus?
Yes, thanks. The DTOcean 2 tools were an update to DTOcean 1, developed by the consultancy Data Only Greater in conjunction with Sandia National Labs. The DTOceanPlus tools also build on the DTOcean 1, but they're a rewrite of the tools in a more modular fashion, as we've seen today. We've added the structured innovation and stage gate tools, and there are also tools for the site and machine characterization. We saw the site characterization today, and there's a new tool for the energy transformation stage that looks at the power takeoff and control. And I think all of the tools have either improved or expanded functionalities within DTOceanPlus compared to the original DTOcean 1 and to some extent DTOcean 2. Hopefully that answers your question. I see we also had a couple of questions about the session recording and copies of the presentations. The session has been recorded and it will be uploaded onto the DTOceanPlus website in the next few days or weeks. I'm not exactly sure how long, sir. The person that's normally organising the website is on leave over the next couple of weeks, but that should be up shortly.
Thank you, Donald. The corridor and this area data. We have a question from Mr. Hari Haran. How can we get the corridor and lease area data? I think we answered that partially. UN probably some data are embedded in the tool, but you also have the opportunity to import it. I'm just reading all the answers. Do you want to complete the answer, Yuen?
Yeah, you cannot directly have access to this data for the two first level of complexity because it's an automatic process. But you can have a look to for example, the energy capture tool to have the area of the lease area. And yes, like you said. At the last level, it's your own lease area and corridor. So of course you have access.
Then we have a question for Emma. Emma, have you managed to read through the question of Ali?
Yes.
So maybe you can summarize the question first for everyone.
Yes, okay, so the question, well, I can read the question this way, I'm sure I get everything. So You talked about social acceptance with respect to the habitat regulation, as indicated by some thresholds mentioned for noise, but it doesn't involve public engagement acceptance and their opinion about the project development. So how do you deal with that, since we see a large portion of fishing industry is against offshore development, especially in France? Would appreciate your views on this. The acceptance part in DTOceanPlus for now includes basic indicators, because actually this area is quite difficult to implement in a global tool. So this type of public engagement or opinion is sometimes a bit site specific, but we are actually working now with sociologues to try to have a tool that consider better these aspects. And for now, what we can do for the user is to try to provide some indicators that are quite important for the public and the public opinion. And with this type of key parameters, the user can try to improve these parameters and indicators to that are for social concerns, so the number of jobs. The carbon footprint also is something that's quite important for the public opinions, or even the endangered species, that this is something that is quite important, and use that to lower the impact on this type of indicators. And also maybe you can use this type of information in public debate or stuff like that, I think. But this is something that we are working on with some specialists, because it's quite difficult. Yeah.
Okay, thank you, Emma. I guess you have another question from Ines.
Yes. Is it possible to evaluate the cumulative environmental impacts for potential further development on a site? If I understand correctly, you mean that if a user is adding, I don't know, another some more maybe devices or another farm, I guess the user can add this information maybe on, if you add some devices, you can you complete the information of the coordinates or maybe the materials that you need to add to complete your farm. But you won't be able to discriminate between your two impacts, I guess. So this is not really built for that, but maybe we can consider it. But for now you can, but yeah, you cannot discriminate the two impacts. If I understand correctly, if you want to, if I didn't understand well, you can just ask me another question. Okay.
Then we have a question from Mr. Kabir Sharif. Does DTOcean consider the effect of turbulence intensity model? Probably this question refers to the energy capture module, where you want to include the wake effect in the design of an array of different of several tidal machines. And if this is the sense of the question, then yes, the turbulence intensity due to the wake of each machine is taken into account when computing the annual energy production of the farm. If it is not the sense of the question, so please feel free to ask another one with maybe more details. I think we went through all the questions. No, maybe one left from Matthew Topper. Will the DTOceanPlus website be maintained by the end of the project? The answer is a yes, partially. Of course, we don't have we cannot have it infinitely maintained, but at least we have 1 year of maintenance on the website after the end of the project.
Now, maybe I can just also add that as part of the project, we are looking at an exploitation plan for future development of the software, and that would include the project website.
Okay. I'm reading through all the questions. I think we have answered everything. Yes, I think so. Ah no, we have some new questions. Tiana, you are never empty for questions. You always have one. UN, it's a question for UN, I think. I can read the question. UN, thank you for your response. I understood now that external files can be imported to characterize the site. Yes. However, these external files are required in a format that I'm not very familiar with. For example, a shapefile and .shx. How is DTOceanPlus planning to assist the user in using this type of format? Is an example going to be given? UN, can you answer this question?
Thank you. Yes, thank you, Tiana, for the question. Yes, there is some examples in the documentation of the SC model, and for this particular geospatial data, I think I have put a link to a tutorial to build this type of data by using open source software, like QGIS. And of course, maybe in the future we can do some training session on that. I don't know now.
Yes, and as you mentioned, there is in the documentation you have a description of the data format, and in addition, those shapefiles they are kind of standard for MeteOcean data, but it will be documented in the user guide, and probably even included in the tutorials. UN.
Yes, they are included in some tutorials with some useful links.
Okay, so if they are included in the tutorial, then we can have access to a file example at least to see how it looks like.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, so I guess that answers your question, Tiana. I'm trying to read all the questions, but I think it's okay now. And we have reached. Thank you, Tiana, for your questions. We have reached the end of the training session. As mentioned by Donald, please check the DTOceanPlus website, and on this website you will find the next training session, which will happen next week. Don't hesitate to register, and you will learn a lot about staged gating in DTOceanPlus. Thank you, everyone, and have a good day.